Toona here. Bullshit, asshole. No one likes a Toona here. Yeah.
Too big.
All right. Ben and Rob, East Coast Customs podcast number 1.
Oof.
It's only taken us a little while to get to this point.
How many whiles?
Many whiles.
Many whiles.
We've
That's
been
an
speaking about
understatement.
it. We've been talking about it for a while now, at least 18 months.
Yeah.
Easily.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Glad to be here.
yeah.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Rob's done a good one on the layer.
Yes, very good job.
Yeah. So,
We're zoomed in tight, so you can't see the layer. That's all right.
in progress.
It's our black room. It's our
Podcast
black
room
Yeah.
3.0.
Anyway.
we weren't having
We've done a
excuses.
great job. So now that we finally made it here with you guys, there's a lot of new followers on our socials, but this year is our 20th year in business.
Oh, it is, yeah.
I was going to say it's cause for celebration, but it actually is a reflection of how old we are. But then it's a good feat.
How old were you when you started East Coast?
I was 20.
Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
Rob was 21.
21.
Yeah.
21.
Whippersnappers.
Yeah. 20 years.
Yeah,
eh?
look,
40. 20 plus 20 is 40. Makes sense. I turned 40 this year.
I was actually having a reflection on this the other day. Not to go off topic within the first 60 seconds of the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
No, but you know where everyone's like, what would you change if you did it again? But and everyone's like, no regrets, right? This is this, and I'm like, man, there's fucking heaps I would change, and it's just taken us 20 years to learn a lot of those lessons. But yeah, fucking heaps.
Can I ask him a question?
Go for it.
What would you change? What would be the number one big thing you would change? Before we go to it, and then we can get back to Lindsay to take control.
From like opening up.
Yeah, opening first. The one thing you would change. Doesn't have to be the biggest thing.
Actually having like any semblance about business and how a business works before we open our doors would be it. We just did the typical like, fuck this, I don't want to work for someone else, and we can do this by ourselves and we can do it better. And we'll probably get into that story on another podcast of how we opened and all that stuff. But yeah, I was just thinking about it the other day, and I'm like everyone's like, nah, fuck, I wouldn't change a thing. And I'm like, no, there's plenty I would change that I would hope would have just expedited the process to get us to where we are today. But it's heaps.
Don't ask me.
Heaps.
Is there something you would change? I feel like this question like just opens a sliding doors moment, or was it like the Butterfly Effect movie? Like if you change that one thing, you might not be you anymore.
Oh, like
I'd be me, but richer.
yeah.
And less grey hairs. That's what I would be.
I reckon the biggest defining moment was when we got Dino.
Yeah,
Because they
100%.
just opened us and fucking shot us into the stratosphere of trailblazing.
I remember back in the day when, and there used to be all this stuff that's like, oh, they're not a real performance shop, they don't even have a dyno. And I'm like, oh, whatever. But like now, as a performance shop with 2 dynos, absolutely.
You've only got one dyno, motherfucker?
Yeah.
Oh, can I swear?
Yes.
Because I'm going to be swearing a lot.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. So you can't be a performance shop unless you have a dyno? Is that what you're saying?
Not a true.
Look, that's what they used to say, and we would argue violently.
20 years ago?
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Okay.
We would argue violently.
Before we had our dyno.
But 20 years later, now that we have 2 dynos, it's... You can be a performance shop, but not to the level that we would like to put our work out these days, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 20 years on from when you first opened your doors at Kedron?
No,
Aspley.
Aspley.
It wasn't even
Town.
really doors, they were roller doors.
Oh, no.
They were 2 roller doors. They kept on getting stuck.
So there's a lot of people out there that actually don't know where we came from. Like, they don't know our history. I know Rob's maybe... You guys have spoken about it on YouTube that we've done in the past. And about the old days, a local shop that fucked you over, and
We do YouTubes.
there's a YouTube about it
Where is it?
on youtube.com.
I think it was on that 10-year or the 15-year
Yes.
video
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah.
Do you want to recap that just briefly for the people that don't know where East Coast came from?
Briefly?
Briefly.
How briefly?
5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour.
Give us the key points. What car was it? You took a car somewhere and
It
they
was my
treated
180.
you like dirt.
Yeah, it was my 180. It wasn't somewhere. It was Mercury Motorsports.
Okay, we're saying it.
Okay,
Yeah,
hang on.
absolutely.
We have permission to be non-judged in this circle right now, and
Go fucking
controversial.
ham.
We're
Do it.
able to voice. This
Just
is like
be
this,
you.
This is out.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Get it out.
This is us.
This is our podcast. If they don't want to listen, they can fucking unsubscribe.
Go paint a black wall somewhere. Yeah, sweet. Go for it. Fucking American
So the
motorsports.
original car was my 180.
Yep.
And it was back in the day. I was still at uni at the time, and Benny and I were just spending all our time. Benny was an apprentice at another performance shop back in the day, and we were just like after hours. When I say we were building, Ben was building.
He was the money man.
I was funding it. I was watching and emotional support, really, kind of stuff.
You weren't a mechanic though.
No, not at the time.
He was a psychologist, or he'd
Yeah,
trained.
psych student, weren't
I
you?
was actually in. I just finished my psych degree, and I was taking my gap year.
Oh, of course.
And then, I know, like we were in the car scene. It was the boostcruising Nissan Silvia days, back in the days. But then, so we/Ben put my 180 together. We did a big turbo setup and injectors and all that kind of stuff on it in his parents' garage at Bald Hills. And then so we towed the car over to Mercury Motorsports and just got an absolute fucking 0 out of 10 experience in terms of customer service, quality of work. It literally broke down like on the way home. And it was
These days they call it an arse ring.
Yeah, and it was one of those ones that it was, quoted one price, came to pick it up, and it was 3 times more, and I was a 21-year-old kid, and they were like, nope, not taking it without paying your bill, and I just didn't know what to do. I was fucking, I literally broke down like 3 streets away.
Yeah, didn't you? And then they were like, nah, we're closed, sorry, fuck you.
And then, we're closed, sorry, closed for the day. So, sorted out, call us tomorrow. And then we went home and had a look at it, and it was actually, it was the injectors that they'd fitted. They'd pinched all the O-rings in it, and it just filled the fucking thing full of fuel and everything like that. So we found it and kind of fixed it ourselves, and we just had, many young, dumb, and full of aspirations, we'll call it, ideas, and went, fuck this, like we can do this better. And it was one of those things that like we kind of knew what we were doing mechanically. By we, I mean Ben did. And then we were just like, this was the worst experience, and like the only thing that's stopping us doing this ourselves is we don't have a dyno, or a workshop, or facilities, or money, or any of that kind of stuff. And then from there we kind of went into like a year's worth of planning of like how we could do it better, and not wanting to grow up and get real jobs and all that stuff. And we were both working behind a bar, just living the young dreams, planning out this workshop that we were going to open.
We were monsters by night and pie eaters by day.
Yeah.
We would just wake up, go see the pie man.
This is like the old Brisbane OG nightclub scene, like the old what was it called? What was that club called?
The Dome?
Yeah, the Dome.
Yeah, it was the Dome and Mercury.
Mercury.
Yeah, and it was
not the car shop, but the nightclub.
The club.
But this was OG Brisbane, like the Aspley Maccas every Thursday night, like Broadwater car park on the weekends, all that kind of stuff like that, like highway racing a lot. And then it's so after that we went into just a year's worth of planning and just saving as much money as we could, which was not a lot, kind of stuff. Obviously, just working behind a bar and stuff. But then, I don't know. A year later, we opened the doors. Yeah,
we hit a couple of roadblocks because we actually had a third partner that we had. It was another mate of ours, which we strategically thought was going to be the backer of money.
Okay.
To the point where our business strategy and the business plan that we had included probably about a $200K startup capital investment, but that meant all three of us got fucking 400 horsepower Silvias and murals on walls and just the pipe dream.
Yep.
And then it got to the point where we got rejected by, like, fucking nearly kicked out of bloody bank meetings and all that sort of stuff. Then June's dad was potentially going to come on and lend us some of the money. So then was our first, like, well, realistically, we're not going to get 200K. So how do we get back to this? And we need to strip it bare. So we started, Rob and I were like, well, fuck it. We don't need the cars. We don't need the mural. We just need to start the fucking business and get going. And then June sort of, you could tell he was in it for the car.
Yeah, right.
So it got to the point where we sort of really had to make a decision. Okay, well, if we're going to start this with no money, we want people to be on board that are really heavily invested on it. And we sort of knew that June probably, he was into a bit of other different things.
Yep.
So we made the obviously the decision. I won't say cut him, but go our separate ways, because we knew together that obviously we'd been boys, fucking cousins since birth. Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
Cousins since
Yeah,
birth.
yeah, cousins since birth. I know. Talk about it, you know. And Rob and I sort of even to these days know now, like, you know, what each other's thinking, and when it's time, you give the look, and it's time to hustle.
Yep.
We did that, and that's exactly what we did. We had the look, and we knew that, okay, well, June isn't probably going to fit this business model.
Yep.
And we then, how are we going to do this? And we ended up fucking manning up the courage and fucking walking on our hands and knees in front of our dads.
Yep.
And saying, here's a business plan, da-da-da-da. And they looked at us and sort of said, how much? And we said, well, fuck, like, what can you give us?
Yep.
And they gave us $7,000 each.
Wow.
You had 14 grand to start a business.
That's amazing.
And we were like, fuck yeah, this is good, let's go. you know, and then,
We're
but
rich.
But
We're
then,
rich.
in saying that, that was detriment to our slow growth because, I mean, our startup costs, when we were talking printers,
Yep.
fucking tools, jacks, all that sort of shit, you chew that through that pretty fucking hoists.
Yep.
Everything.
Yeah, and it was just lucky enough that you know, Frankie from Superior Tires, God rest his soul, you know, he actually gave us a go and rented the back shed of their tire place at Aspley
Yep.
for fucking like $300-400 a week.
I was
if
about to ask that.
Yeah,
Because
it was,
renting
Yeah,
20 years ago, 2005,
yeah.
still renting a commercial space would have been still exy.
Yeah, and you know, and like Frankie and Rick from you know, I think Black Bear now, yeah, I mean,
Yep.
they gave us that chance, and you know, they'll always be part of like our startup story.
That's awesome.
And you know, without them, I don't know if we would have made it because I mean, rent for a place like that would have been usually $2,000 a month back then.
Yeah.
You know, so they gave us a chance and whatnot, and yeah, that's just, you know, the rest of it is history. We just hustled for everything. We fucking saved up, bought a piece of equipment, back to zero. Hustled, bought another bit of equipment, away we go. So yeah.
There's a lot of people that are into cars though that don't go, oh well, I got a shit experience, I'm just going to open my own shop.
Thank Christ.
Why? Like, obviously, cars were a big part of your life already. I'm assuming, like,
Yep.
it was more than just being, because we know we've got customers that are super into building their cars and stuff, but they don't go, oh, I could do this myself and go and open their own shop. What was it about? Was it that you knew that you always wanted to get into opening a business together, or what?
We really didn't have anything to do. No job, so we had to do something other than get kicked out of home.
Naivety, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't answer that question. I don't know. No, there was never any of this like, yes, like we really want to open our own shop or open our own business.
Yeah, we've never really spoken
There
it
was
before.
never,
In the 20
Ne-
years
ne-
beforehand
yeah.
of conversating with
never
Joe,
been asked
yeah.
that question, but I don't even know what it was that made us do it, other than just like, screw this, we can do this better. Like, you know, and I was probably seeing how successful this shop was, and they were fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So, and I was just like, what if we can just do this bit better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
But don't forget, that was the prime time of like Fast and Furious #1 had just popped out,
Yep.
you know, and everyone's gone. West Coast Customs was big, like
Yeah.
Pit My Ride and
Yep.
whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, I think that was a lot of aspirations for us.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, you know, and we, for a period there, hey, didn't we do like neons and fucking
I've seen
stereos
neon,
and all
yeah.
that sort of shit?
I've seen
You
your
know?
old East Coast Customs logo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
very
and
much on it.
It was like super hip hop style.
All of it, yeah,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, we had like we very much wanted to be like the Australian West Coast customer side of things, and like all our business plans is obviously like the graffiti logo was a very play off that, and you know we planned out, we had like these graffiti artist mates, and we wanted to get like on one of these workshops that we went to like meetings and you know to rent and all that stuff like that. Like we had planned out for this big mural and all that kind of stuff like that, but it just
How fuck was that? A little story. We were talking about we wanted a wall, like wherever we went we wanted a wall or a mural, right? And we were like, how much do we budget for this? Like $500 for some fucking export paint. And then we got a couple of mates that we knew, we won't say the names, we knew the graphers and all that sort of stuff, you know, and they'd go on trains and walls and whatever. And we're like, hey man, you know, free range, do whatever you want, just da da da. And they're like, oh yeah, about $2 or $3 grand. I want to get an air compressor in. I'm like, what do you fucking mean? You've got a free wall to graph on, like fucking just do it.
Yep.
Oh no, but I wanted it on a ladder and a fucking cherry lift and all this. It's like, nah, fuck off. You know, like,
So what happened to the wall then?
It didn't happen because they wanted to charge too much.
it was too expensive.
Well, we were going to put up a sign, don't fucking paint on me. And I guarantee you didn't come back.
To try and entice them to come and paint on it.
You know, it's like, here, free, and people fucking always haggle you down.
Owned by the Queensland government, just in case.
It's
Yeah.
funny the wall. We should probably do the wall at some stage.
Yeah.
It's just it would look very different.
No, it'd be
Yeah.
like block
Today,
letters and-
the two things we've always discussed that we always wanted was the wall, and then back when we're when we were opening the business, it was like, like Auto Salon, Fast
Yep.
and the Furious,
Yep.
the lot. And for those who are around old enough to remember any of this, was like Muhammad and Queen Street Smash, and the Barbie Beamers and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and the big gold teeth and everything,
Gold
and,
rims.
and and then I remember we I don't know if it was like Fast Fours or Hot Fours, one of those mags or whatnot back in the day. But I remember like watching this interview with like him in his like office, and he had this massive fish tank in the back. And Ben and I like, look, when we've got that big fish tank in the back, like that's when we'll know we've
You're gonna
made
have a
it.
fucking shark in it.
He literally messaged us about a fish tank last week.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
He's on
So
it.
you
He's
know
on
what
it.
this is
Yeah,
about.
I do know.
Absolutely.
And I'm
Okay.
not stopping him.
There's more. There's more to
absolutely.
this.
Absolutely, I did.
If a pool's getting craned in, we've gone too far.
Okay,
But,
all right.
But a fish
So,
tank.
I thought it was just a TISM thing that was like, oh, I want a fish tank now. But
No,
there's
no, it's a-
actually a story
No,
behind
no.
it.
It's a bucket list.
Yeah.
It's a bucket list. We will get the fish tank
Yes.
one day. Like I said, hopefully we can do better than the 2 goldfish that my daughter literally got yesterday. But rest in peace, Goldies.
Yeah.
I hope after we
You're
finish
in a better
this,
place.
Kel's told me, I'm like, you bite your goldfish on the way home. If Marley gets home and realizes they're like dead,
Yeah. Where are you going to go? Smithies?
the goldfish shop.
Yeah, go
How are you going to match them to be the same?
Gold is gold.
Do you know what colour they were?
Gold.
Goldfish.
Both gold ones.
No, they were like orangey, like Nemo-y looking coloured type thing.
Oh.
Nemo wasn't a goldfish, was he?
No.
Nemo's
No,
a clownfish.
but it was that colour. Like, just orangey. It's fucking fish, all right?
No.
What are you, a cop?
Nemo has white stripes too. And
This
it's
is an
tropical.
interrogation.
There was
now.
even like this like orchestrated like with like Christian and Kel like keeping Amali like out of her room this morning so she didn't see the fish. Like
Jesus.
yeah.
Didn't she create this though?
She did, but that's she can't be reasoned with. You know, I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't matter. Hell will be brought down upon my family.
No.
Have you seen Finding Nemo?
Once. I can't do sad movies. I'm sorry.
Oh, really?
I know. I
It's a very
can't.
happy movie.
No, there's too many sad bits.
Oh, sad bits. Oh,
Yeah.
So any
I'm not
movie,
good. Yeah.
okay,
So any
right,
movie that's got
right.
real sad bits
You're-
is not good.
You're more of a YouTuber.
Yeah. Or I'll fast forward through the sad bits.
Yeah.
Cool.
So-
Yes. So a wall and a fish tank.
So now that you're both dads, can you imagine the day that maybe your kids approach you for a loan to start up their business?
I say fucking no way. No way. I don't know, actually. I'd hopefully be supportive when it came
Actually,
to that.
I honestly haven't even thought of that, but
Yeah.
Fuck, you floored me on that. What the
Yeah.
fuck is with these questions, man?
that's why we've got this like saving funds for the kid. And
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Super.
Well, back
But it's funny. It's such a like dichotomy of like as a parent now and like with a question like that of like wanting to like set you give your kid all the things that you never had, but then also trying to teach them work ethic
Work
and
for
all of
it.
that kind of stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough.
So it's almost like that. You bring something, I'll
Yeah.
double it kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, like,
like still secretly resentful of the silver spoon that I wasn't given by my parents. So
I know. We saw that many times.
I mean, circling back to your 180, did you both have cars back then? Like, what were you both driving?
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So
I Rob had dude, you chew through some cars back when we were younger. Like
All I know
me.
about is the Corolla. That's
Oh,
the one I
man.
remember
it's
you
the
talking
ADHD.
about.
Yeah,
I wasn't diagnosed back then.
no,
Yeah.
you weren't. We thought it was normal.
Yeah, you know, and then when, like as an adult, as a 30-something-year-old adult, I got diagnosed, and everyone in my life went, duh.
Yeah, we could know that. But no, it started with obviously you had a Corolla 2 import fucking
Yep.
thing, and then I had a Nissan Pulsar N13Q, which we'd decked the fuck out of.
Yeah,
And then-
neons and stairs.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Then
Lower
when
ends,
it
exhaust.
started to really get happening, Rob had you had that blue 180, the
Yeah,
electric
yeah.
blue one, didn't you? The first
Yes,
one.
yeah.
And then
Yeah, it was that like BA XR6, like electric blue kind of color or
And
whatnot.
it had work done, didn't it? Because your dad didn't want to buy it from you because you got it from like Gas Motorsport.
No.
Motorsport, something like that.
I don't know about a heap. It had a turbo timer.
Oh, that's it.
That
Back
was
then,
important.
yeah,
that was like
yeah.
the ultimate
It had
flex.
reams.
Yeah, like 2005, like
Yeah.
being able to like pull up to like Park Road
Yeah.
to like go fucking
Oh,
drink
fuck.
coffee and smoke 1,000 cigarettes like at night, and then
Man.
like you'd get that prime spot like out the front near the Lambo, and you'd freak out like reverse
Whereabouts?
parking.
Park Road.
Yeah, Park Road in Milton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
yeah,
used to go for an Italian
Near
hot
the
chocolate
Maccas.
and Marlboro Whites.
No,
Oh.
kind of
And
like down, like you know where like the Eiffel Tower
Yeah.
is and all that
Just
kind
in
of
front.
I
stuff.
drove past there yesterday. Yeah.
That was like
La
the
Dolce
hangout-
Vita.
Yeah, La Dolce
La
Vita.
Dolce
Yeah,
Vita,
that was like the hangout
Yeah,
spot.
the Marlboro
To try and
Whites.
pick up chicks and stuff like that.
Oh,
and
wow.
then yeah,
Fuck yeah.
So you do that, and then you'd park off and you'd walk away and just be like beep, and then like your car would keep running and people just like, oh.
But
Biggest flex.
but
we need to bring turbo timers back too.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring neons back and turbo timers back.
but
Yeah.
man, Felicity and I were there randomly after something, and that same situation happened, but it wasn't a 180. And I was like, what a fucking idiot, man. Like,
What with this turbo timer and everything?
looking back now, it's like, what a fucking idiot. But hey,
You guys thought you were so cool back then.
we were cool back then. Fuck yes, we were.
It was
Yeah.
funny with the 180 because I had the little Corolla 2 import, but then it's funny. It's my uncle was a mechanic, and I remember like when Dad was shopping around for like my first car, there was this like AE82 like Corolla that turbo timer like had everything done to it, 4AGZE swap, so supercharged and everything. And I remember like going to like test drive this car and look at this car with my dad and my uncle, and then went for the drive, and this thing was just the fucking most badass thing ever. And I remember coming back being like, yep, that's the one I want. But Dad was paying for it, right? So, and then my uncle's just like, there's no way you're letting Robbie buy that car. He'll fucking kill himself.
Uncle Johnny.
and then so that's how I ended up with like a little shitty NA like 1.6 carby Corolla. But suck shit, Uncle Johnny. Look at me now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, but when it did start was Rob had this 180, and I actually bought a non-turbo Sylvia,
Okay.
and then basically we had this big idea of, you know what I mean, like the Sil 80
Yep.
and the 1 thing.
Yep.
You had a front end.
I did. I had a big
adventure.
one. I ran out of talent.
Yeah,
Coming
yeah.
out of a roundabout, being young and dumb and stupid and all that stuff.
Yep.
And then he had to buy a 180 front end anyway.
Okay.
So I was like, hey, man, how about I give you the Sylvia front end and we'll do the swapsy? And he was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I've always wanted a Sil 80. So we ended up doing a swapsy, and I had a 1 and Rob had the Sil 80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shout out, this how long goes back. So Luke and the boys are Wolf were the one who like
No.
did the swap over for us and all that
No.
stuff.
Yeah.
All the way back then, yeah. Luke actually had
He would have been
for-
like 20 as well then.
Yeah,
right?
he had probably one of the most
he-
badass
he-
Sylvias
yeah.
around, yeah.
Really?
he was a little bit older, but yeah, he had this like Kermit green
Yeah.
like Sylvia that made like 200 horsepower back in
Yeah.
the day. And it, like
Neons.
full body kit,
Wow.
neons, like show car.
I'm mentioning this to him.
Plates
Yeah.
04 fat.
No,
plate.
um,
and he was just like there was like a couple of these like cars around Brizzy that were just like
Yeah.
Really?
yeah.
He prided himself on winning the Illuminator Award at what I saw in like 2 or 3
Yes.
years running. And that was his
Really?
MO, was to basically and he had these ring lights around the fucking brake. Yeah, man. It
Yeah,
was
like every neon you could put
back
on
in
that
the
thing.
day,
shocked.
back in the days, yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's like, fuck, man, like that's, that was it back in the day.
Wow.
And it's sort of gone away. I can feel it's coming back.
It's coming back.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
Bringing it back.
Bringing it back.
Yeah.
So, and he was, he won the Illuminator Award like 2 or 3 years running,
That's
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had the big Bengal, ran out of talent, trying to like drift out of a roundabout and all that stuff. Literally like fishtailed up this thing. It was on my birthday actually. It was.
Who'd you have in the car?
No, that one was by myself.
Oh.
That was there was another birthday I had when I was with my girlfriend Nicole at the time or whatever, and she got in a smash on my birthday. She got wiped out.
That was in a
no.
Coles, wasn't it?
It was
in a
yeah, Triple C's.
Yeah.
So
no,
there's
Barina.
multiple accidents here.
Just don't drive on my birthday.
Yeah.
Now I try and go overseas, so don't drive.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Luke did the like obviously like fixed up my car, and then Benny obviously took his like S13 front end off, and then because I had to pay to get it all painted and done anyway, so we bought it, swapped it over, and then Ben obviously did all the 180 swap and all that kind of stuff for himself. Back in the day, remember Adrian from
Zaini from
Adrian Zaney from Stafford Auto Electrics.
Yeah.
Are these people all around still?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know Luke
they
is.
are.
Yeah, you'd be surprised their business models are just like, you know what, I do what I want when I want, fuck you. like Adrian's like, man,
Yeah,
we've tried to send him work. He's like, no.
Really?
He was our wiring guy
Yeah.
back in the day. You
Oh,
know what I mean? So
wow.
he would wire up to get all like the headlights working on those swaps, and
Yep.
then when we first started, like the big one, we used to do lots of like SR and RB conversions and stuff. So he was like our wiring guy
Wow.
that did all the wiring for us back.
He's
in
like the
day.
Steve,
Yeah,
but back then.
back then.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
yeah, so then we ended up with this 1 and this Sil 80, and yeah, kind of just snowballed from there, I guess.
Were there car clubs back then? Like, were you part of like now, like there's like the Supra Club and there's like different, like the Euro Club
No, like
and stuff. Was it not like that?
Facebook groups, no, because this is in the day of MySpace, remember? Like
Was
it was
it
still
MySpace
Yeah,
groups?
exactly right. No, they weren't. No,
No
it was
groups?
more forum groups. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
No,
yeah, it was
and it's like
forums.
boostcruising and
Okay.
this and Sylvia.
Yeah, boostcruising and distance.com were like, oh yeah, Skylands Australia. They were probably like the big three. I mean, obviously we were only into like imports and JDM stuff
Yeah,
back
yeah.
then, so they were like the big three.
Times have changed.
So they weren't really, but that was like your second community or home or
Yeah.
anything like that.
And they knew you from your
just-
number plate, eh?
Yeah.
Did you have some
Yeah.
good number plates?
Oh, he did.
Yeah, we had-
he's a fucking fiend for it.
I'm not-
Yeah, Ophilo, 2 sauce.
Are you serious?
I did. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
Ophilo. I had
Timu.
2 sauce. A Timu. and then I ended up getting plates A-Town.
Yeah,
And stuff like that. So like Aspley, A-Town, and I was a big Usher fan. Yeah.
Eight.
And then Benny, what did you have before the baller plates?
Oh shit! I don't think I had plates before that. I was
We had we had lots of plates, but then it just tinkering around like fucking from like obviously when we first opened, we didn't have a million customers, so we had plenty of time to work on our own cars, unlike now. But then we just sort of built it out and did it from there, and then like I said, I would say the put us on the map or whatnot back in the day was other than like just like building the like a cool car that made power was we weren't the first in Australia, we were the second in Australia to do it, but there was this drifting was huge back then, and there was this guy Christian Pickering, had this like camo wrapped like 180 or whatever it is, and it was just like badass drift car, but it was whatever it is. Like the car was cool, but like the whole camera side of things, like, and we're like, what can we do to get some attention here? And then we we got. So when I finally got the body kit and all that stuff on the 180, and we're driving around.
Which body kit, bro? You had fucking
I had a few.
thousands of them.
Really?
I had a few, and I was
dude.
driving this thing around for ages, like all different fucking shapes and colors and all that kind of stuff like that as well. Because like you can only do stuff as you afford it. Like I would have like 4 different colored panels on the car and a bright blue body kit and all that stuff, and then eventually. When we got it all done, and then we sent it to a place. Was it called? Affordable?
Oh, Affordable, yeah. No, John from Affordable Bodyworks.
It was Affordable Bodyworks.
Launton, sorry.
At Paisley Drive at Launton.
Oh, wow.
And then he was like the airbrush guy.
Yeah.
In Brisbane. He was this like old school dude, and we took him and we just took him some concepts, and I'm like, man, I want like that street urban snow cam or whatever it is. Can you just can you airbrush it? Actually, but before we did that, mine wasn't the first camo one. Remember your 4-32?
4-32, we got drunk.
Yeah, we got drunk at night and just fucking...
It made it look like more of a cow than anything.
And export spray.
It
did look like a
cow.
And we export spray painted, and we were like...
Oh, no.
I had a BM blister kit on that then, didn't I? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and then... So eventually we're like, no, I like this. It gets attention. So then... Yeah, so I got my car like fully airbrushed, like snow camo and all that stuff. Had like bullet holes and stuff in it and all that stuff.
My
it was fucking bad, and it got so much attention.
Yeah, fucking...
And then after that, the business started to get a name for itself, and we had this camo car. So then we got Benny's 30. He after the 32 got a 34 four-door.
Yep.
And then we got that airbrushed snow cam as well, like a different design for the 180. And then we had just some awesome customers and friends and all that kind of stuff who really wanted to be a part of it all. And then Kim, shout out to Tuvi, he had a 1VR, and then he went like a blue marine camo.
Yep.
And airbrushed it like that. And then we did Australia's first RB26 into an S15.
Yep.
And then one of our customers, then Wawa, he did like a gold desert cam kind of thing. And then Jiff. Jiff. Yeah, Jiff. One of my friends, Jiff. He was like he did like a pink camo.
Yeah. It looked good, but no, fucking looked real.
I've seen the pictures of the pink one.
The problem was that car had like this pearl, like this fucking awesome paint job beforehand, and it was like this nice bright pink with this blue pearl through it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You would not fucking touch it, but testament to Jiff wanted to buy in, and idiot went and painted it fucking camo.
So it's like some kind of hazing ritual to be part of the group to go get your car painted
I wouldn't
camo.
change that. Yeah, like
And
good
then-
on him. Yeah.
And then we had one more. We had like this big like wide body S13 with this customer named Matt Moller. And then he went and he went purple camo.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then so at one stage we had like 6 of these
Crew
things,
of camo cars.
and it was one of those things like you're out cruising every weekend, like we'd highway racing down the coast, and you go to Broadwater car park on weekends, and we would just like roll out like with these 6 camo cars, and it was just we had so much attention everywhere, and it was fantastic.
But that probably was one of my big things was because I remember once like back early in the day we went to Broadwater car park, and I don't think we had anything massive then, and I remember rolling in there. And these guys from the High Rollers Club.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, right.
So there was there was a car club, right?
Yeah.
There was 2 car clubs that I can really think of back in the day. So there was Club High Rollers, which were like
had to be minimum 500-600 horsepower.
Yeah, 500 horsepower, which is massive
wow.
back then.
That's
Like that's the
2,000
equivalent of making 1,000 plus now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they were all these like super rich guys or whatever it is.
What kind of cars were they? Imports
well,
or
the one that really struck me was there was this S2000, the Honda S2000, right?
Yeah.
And I can't remember what car his mate has, right? But they got out, and it was this typical Asian triad, bro. Like they had the Adidas kick suits on, hat back was massive fucking rat tail. And I was like, man, this cunt's dangerous as fuck, you know? And ever since then, I was like, you know what? I would love to be able just to roll up in here with my crew and have someone else be like, oh, look at these guys roll in, you know? And we got to do that when we had all the camo cars and everyone was like, holy fuck, what, you know, love it, hate it, whatever. It was disrupting.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we rolled in there and I had a rat's tail back then. I was like,
You've had a rat's tail many times.
I've only just got rid. When I say only, I was going to say because
I think you got a rat's tail of some sort. Someone's hating
Fee made you cut it off for the wedding.
Yeah, fucking nice. I still got that in a bag somewhere, but that was one of my big moments as well. I mean, when you're saying that about the Broadwater car park, was just rolling in there and it's like fucking at least having like disrupt the car park. Yeah, and we got to do it. Yeah, but
it's one of those moments, hey, like that you'll never forget, being able to turn up somewhere like that and know what that feels like to have seen someone else in, and then to be in those shoes.
Everyone
and
just be like,
but the pre-frame, right? You're going to say a lot of things. And it's going to just go trigger so much shit for Rob and I, and in a good way, because if we chop and change. Because when he says a name or something, oh, fuck, you know, or an event, because a lot of shit has happened in fucking 20 years of us just doing stuff. So you might hear some stuff for the first time here.
I haven't heard a lot of these stories. I knew about like Maccas car park. I didn't know about A-Town.
Doo-doo, doo-doo. You go do the trumpet, man.
I didn't know that. Like that stuff's so cool.
And so the only other car club that really stood out from back. Oh, actually, there was three. There was Lowriders.
Oh, Lowriders. Yes.
Yeah, there was a Lowriders car club, and they were all just slam.
Yeah. Old cars?
No, they were like Civics and Integras, and like so to be in Lowriders, like you just had to be fucking dumped.
Wow.
Right? High rollers, you had to make like a heap of power and be something like rich. Oh, you had to be rich to be able to afford to build those cars back in the day.
I mean,
and then the third car club was they were. I don't even know if they had a name, but there was this crew of all these like Arab imports or whatever it is.
Yep.
So guys over here on like student visas and all that stuff who were driving like fucking just balled out like GDRs and 1,000 horsepower Supras and all that kind of stuff back then. And they all had UAE plates. So they were like UAE1, UAE2, and there was this massive like group of them as well.
There were a lot of them were going like Sub-Zero, weren't they? Like because
they were
back
in the day. Yeah.
Is that a shop?
Yeah.
He was a shop. Yeah.
He was probably one of the. I don't want to keep saying the word trailblazers, but
one of the OGs.
One of the OGs,
But like give or take was one of those ones that so he was like Sub-Zero was, and this is going back 20 years, like it was like home of the 10-second street car. Yeah. So that's where you went, and like tens is hard to get now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you're getting it back then, but you know, live by the sword, die by the sword. He was one of those ones who ended up obviously fucking up some stuff and blah blah blah, or got in with the wrong people and pretty much got chased out of Australia.
Oh no!
Then I think he went to Dubai.
He went to Dubai.
Opened up there because of all these contacts, and I think same thing sort of happened over there. So don't know where he is right now. Hopefully he's okay.
Did that happen like a bit back in the day? Like shops would open, shops would close. Like
remember, you wouldn't fuck with Rick from Adrenaline, eh? Old Rico. Another body kit supply. There
was. I don't know how far into this we go, but
man, it's to the point where he'd just grab anything, copy it, and he said to us once when we were down there, fucking getting something. He was like, "These fucking Japanese cunts are coming over here from fucking Japland to tell me they're not to copy their kids. I'll fucking shoot them the second they get out of the fucking plane." And
he was a biker. You probably know him.
He looks familiar.
He was a biker. He was like a boat builder. And then got into like fiberglass body kits and all that stuff. But he was just a biker. He just gave zero fucks about anything. We just copy everything.
He liked us because
he was awesome. They were the three big car clubs back in the day. But it was so like. The whole like boost cruising likeness, and so boost cruising was the big one because that was all of the cars, right? And then NS was like your imports, and then there was SAU. But boost cruising was just like it was you're either on like IRC, hashtag Brisbane group chat, and all of those.
I know about
ASL,
IRC.
all that kind of stuff like that. You'd hit up chicks on ICQ, with the little.
It'd be like M/21/ like
Brisbane. And then like you made it big if you got in to be like one of the moderators of the chat. So then you just like how many times when they talk back to you to be like hashtag kickban. And you kick them out of the chat.
Remember the old one was ASL? It's like age, none of your business, sex, yes, location, anywhere.
But like boost cruising was like this it's the closest thing I can think of, like these days, to just like you lived and breathed it, you know, and everyone knew each other by their car and their number plate, and there was. It was kind of like being on Facebook, because there was like the Boost Cruising chat, but then on these forums there was or like the sub pages. So there was like you like the Nissan Sylvia, like the equivalent of like a Facebook group now, and then there was like the Sylvia ones, and then there was just casual chat and gym chat and work chat, and there were all these different groups.
For sale chats,
for sale chats, and then like all of this, just like it was just everything.
Yeah,
the day, like that,
remember
and
the
Sylvia.
Spotto pages, like that was what you were doing. You'd made it if you got fucking, was it just Dave would fucking put a photo of you up in
and then they were like, you know, cruises 2-3 nights a week, and then every weekend, and it was just it was everything, and you'd get into these like online wars with people, and then you'd see them at like at this cruise, you know, the next night. But it was
beef.
Plenty of beef.
There's even bacon at times.
But yeah, it was just cruising, and it was like Thursday night was Aspley Maccas, and then it's funny. So our first shop was literally like a street away from Aspley Maccas. So the big thing was like we would like Aspley Maccas would start gathering, and we'd like finish up work and get all the crew down, and then we would leave Aspley Maccas, and you'd give it that little like, on the screamer pipe, and then we'd roll into Aspley Maccas and all that stuff. And then I remember when it had the real big tall drive through, and then you'd watch all these people with like their big clutches like stalling it, trying to get up and down that. So Thursday night was Aspley Maccas. Friday nights was city cruising. Right? So we just bang like laps of the city, like hard tough lapping,
down Elizabeth Street,
and then Roma Street Parklands.
Okay.
And Saturday nights was usually highway to Broadwater.
Highway racing to Broadwater and then back. Yeah.
Then Sunday you'd just be in your little crew, and you'd go for a run, like you'd drive somewhere for lunch or whatnot. So
and you were doing this
if
while
there
you
wasn't
were
a big
running the
Boost
business.
cruising, like cruise on or whatever.
we're
100%.
doing this while we're running the business, plus then working night times at the bar. So we do Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights at the bar. At Mercury, the nightclub, and then there were times where I remember on a big night on Thursdays, because sometimes they had events there, so we'd work all fucking night, and we'd come home. Or we'd be on the way home, we're like, fuck it, let's just go straight into work. Yeah. And we'd do that a couple of times, Remember the time we fell asleep once?
but
at work.
But we didn't just fall asleep because we were too tired.
No.
So we had this like mum made this like big fucking spaghetti feed for us, and then so we're real tired, and then we just like we're hungry, and so we just sat down, and we just fucking smashed this like 21-year-old boys can eat, right? So we just ate all this food, and we had this little like couch like at the back of.
There's a futon.
It was a futon.
Oh no.
So like we had like there wasn't a showroom or anything like that. Like you pretty much came in, you came down this driveway at the back of Superior Tires, and then there was like we had a 4-post hoist and like 2 other bays, and then you'd come through like the roller doors kind of stuff, and then we had some other cars and parts and stuff, and you'd pretty much walk through the work, the equivalent of like someone coming into our shop now, and like walking all the way down to the back to like the water
toilet.
cooler, the toilet.
Yeah, imagine our office was the toilet block.
And then you would come out the back, and then we had this like army net hung up, which kind of like separated. Well, that separated like where some of the workshop finished, and then like our waiting room and showroom finished, and then we had like a futon and some stuff. Then we thought we were pretty big time at one stage when we bought these display cabinets, and we could put some parts in the display cabinet. And then you went around this corner, and then we had like a desk with like a computer and a printer
and a filing cabinet.
Oh, that's legit.
And there was like a loft that you climbed the stairs, and we used to put some parts up. But then so we were like back in the futon, so the whole fucking shop was open and everything, and we just smashed this like big feed, and just fell asleep, passed out.
Oh wow!
And then we woke up, and then we got like messages from like 3 customers like, hey, we came to like see you guys to try and get some work done and stuff, but we were just asleep on the couch. you know.
Oh no!
You'd like to know that wasn't the first time. Remember another time with Angela and KFC?
Oh yeah, we did that a lot. Because we worked like all night, and then we'd be at the shop all day, and then so we didn't have families and kids or anything like that.
Yes.
So it was just that like it was 24 hours, and to take me back to like the first point that I kind of started with, like would you do it again, or what would you change? And it's just like if I had to take our journey again now, like I couldn't. We don't have the time or the space or the energy, or even like any of it, even to not even doing the work, but then to be able to like spend the extra time to learn and develop your skills and all that stuff. You know, like most of what I learned like over the years on the dyno and stuff wasn't like, you go to courses and stuff, but like there's what you do like 9 to 5, We definitely didn't start at like 7 o'clock or anything back then. Don't be ridiculous.
What time did you start?
Nine-ish.
It was an
Wow.
indication of a start time. It wasn't really.
nine-ish.
Yeah, there wasn't a
Nine-ish, but then there
was no huddles or anything back then. There's no Roman time.
yeah, but then particularly like when we got the dyno, like you'd shut the doors and I'd still have a car on the dyno, and I'd literally just fuck around until like midnight with this thing, just trying and testing and learning stuff. And then like that's what like I chat with the boys now with stuff, and I'm like they can't do that, and we would never expect them to do that. But then without that, like we couldn't have got to where we would have got to. But if we were to try and redo that same model again now, like I actually wouldn't start because I couldn't, and I know it would fail because I don't have the time, energy, resources to be able to do that. You know. And
were you tuning back then? Like when you first opened, were you on the tools and were you tuning? Or
Rob was tuning stereo.
What?
The treble, the bass, like and all that stuff.
So the dyno and the tuning side of things. So it came in. I kind of did like the bookwork and the admin and sales and stuff, and Ben did most of the mechanical and all that stuff. And I would really just like help him when I could. You know, what I mean, like to fucking we didn't have transmission jacks.
Like,
you know what I mean?
helping.
So yeah, we didn't have transmission jacks. You know what I mean? So you need to get like you know you need two people to get a box in, one at the back, one at the front, and that kind of stuff.
Hold on, I get a bomb in.
And you know, and I eventually like learnt that. We went through the apprenticeship, but yeah, I was kind of the back end and all that stuff, and Ben was doing the work. And then you know over the years, like I learnt stuff, and then we hired people. But no, the dyno side of things didn't come in for 5 years, maybe 4 years.
Yeah, that was Kedron
3 years,
before
4
we
years,
expanded
or something like that.
Hey.
Is that the first time you had a dyno? Was Kedron?
Yes, we got it at Kedron, and then because I remember because our first dyno was, and remember this is going back 15 years now, 15, 16 years, something like that. But like we tried to get a dyno, right, and then it's but we just like we couldn't, and because we we're young, we had no savings, we had no houses or mortgages, we had no security, and then I remember the finance, the equipment broker,
Jono from Bank Queensland, next door.
No. That was Daryl was the Bank Queensland.
Yeah,
Jono was the guy. Dyno Dynamics put us onto us, and then we used him to finance heaps of our equipment for ages. He was the only guy who eventually like gave us a shot, and he's like, "Look, no one's ever going to lend you the money, like $100,000 for and it was for Dyno back in the day, and it was eventually like if you can come up with like 50% of it somehow, then I can maybe get these guys to finance you the other 50. And then we just did everything for years and years and years, and sold off cars and just sold off anything fucking spare we could, you know, and then somehow managed to raise that money. And then we got the loan and we got the first dyno, and it kind of just, you know, it snowballed from there.
We weren't expecting it that much that the dyno ended up in our lunchroom at Kedron.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
It was right next to the fridge and the coffee machine.
Yeah. Yes.
Like it's in the space.
Yes.
Oh no.
And that futon came from Aspley. And
That came over. Yeah.
Oh,
So there was no lunchroom after that. But yeah, and that's where the dyno went. But before that, and this is how far back this goes. So I mean, so that's when I started tuning myself. But it was one of those things. So back then there was two places we used to go to like do dyno stuff with us, and so one was Coastal Dyno, Roger Garcia.
Yeah.
Own Coastal Dyno. So that's how far back all this goes with Roger. And so he had Coastal Dyno, and he had this like amazing R32 GDR back in the day.
And Eric Banner was
Yeah. And then so you know we would build a car, and then we would have to like drive the car up to Bribey and get it up to Bribey and get them to tune it. But then I was that annoying guy who would want to sit around with their tuner at the time, Pete. God bless his bonghead soul, but Pete. And then I was one, you know, it was Power of Seas and whatnot, and I was the annoying one, just being like, man, like can I stay and watch and kind of just, you know, just be around you and learn this kind of stuff. And he gave me the time to kind of show him stuff, and then that kind of just got me even more interested in it. I just went down the rabbit holes that I still go down today, and just got obsessed with tuning and learning how to tune cars and stuff. But there was that, and the other place that we used to use, there was a company called AWMS back in the day, and they were at Sandgate. So we would either, if we couldn't go to Bribey, we'd drive to Sandgate to so we'd put a turbo kit on a car or something like that. Like not to the extent we do now, like in terms of like crazy setups and whatnot.
So you'd be able to drive it there because now,
because we might be putting on like you know like intercooler exhaust. You know, these old cars, there's no check engine lights when you put an exhaust on or anything like that. Like T-piece boost controller.
And we'd often fit injectors when we got down there.
We'd fit them there or whatnot, or like a Malpassi fuel rig or something like that, and we'd just like crank fuel pressure in it to make sure we got the fuel into it and stuff. And then this is how crazy this. So this company named AWMS had this dyno, and then when AWMS disbanded, they became Roo Systems,
Okay.
right? So around the corner from us. But then there was a guy named. So there was two Glens from Roo. There was Glenn Haddon and Glenn fucking Eric Banner.
Glenn Banner.
Yeah. He looks like Eric Banner. Everybody in the industry knows him as Eric.
Yeah.
So Eric's now one of the guys from Zeus or Alien Tech
Oh,
Australia that we
there
deal
you
with.
go.
And so there was him, and then he was like the tuner back then. And then once again, I just fucking hung around like a bad smell every time we drove a car over and it'd be there for 3-4 hours. I just hang with him and try and learn what I could from him and all that stuff. And then that's where the tuning side of things just started. And then we bought our own cars. I think I flew down to South Australia once and did a tuning course with this place called Motorsport Academy. Mm-hmm. And there were two guys there. There was this guy named Tim Possingham.
Yes.
I don't even know what he's doing these days. I think he's in Malaysia or something like that.
Fuck, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
And Martin Donnan.
Yeah.
Elephant
like
remembering all his names.
And so anyone in the industry knows who Martin Donnan is.
Yeah.
And then so he was this like guru tuner kind of stuff like that. And he used to like write all the tech articles for like Hot Fours and Fast Fours and stuff like that. So I flew down there and I did this like intro to tuning course kind of stuff with them. And then this was a couple of 180s down the track. Then I bought another 180 that had a Microtech in it. Mm. And that was like the first learning to tune like a standalone ECU from scratch and all that stuff. And just, like we learned how to tune the same we do now, like on our own cars. So when people are always like, why are you buying all these new cars and all that stuff? It's like, we don't test our shit on other people's cars. Like we test it and learn it on our own cars.
And we're going to break and we're going to break our own
cars.
Yeah,
exactly. And then go from there. You know what I mean? So,
So when did you hire your first employee?
What do you mean?
Like, when did you have your first employee that was outside of you guys?
We went through schools and schools of fucking workplace and like fucking work experience and school based fucking and just I don't know. At one point we had like 3 or 4 of them on there, and they all came. But I'd probably say our first employee. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Nate Dogg?
It was Nate Dogg, and it would have been 2.5 years in.
Yeah. So he started at Aspley. And man, he was like, fuck, dude. He was such a good, like, he was like, who am I trying to explain him like that now? Do you know Josh Taylor?
No, I wasn't here then.
Lunchbox.
Okay, your Lunchbox, yeah, okay. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, Nate Dogg was just so in tune with it. He was connected in the whole industry. Like if there was something you needed, he knew where to get it from. His dad worked at G. James Glass and Aluminium. Yeah. So if we never needed, like, he's like, you need bench made up, boom, his dad would make up a bench and drop it off here and all that sort of stuff. And he was actually he is a really, really good dude.
He's an awesome,
awesome fella.
And it was actually funny because we would have been 22.
Yeah.
And then Nate Dogg's probably good, like 10 years older than us.
Yeah.
And he actually first came down to the shop. Like he was just like Nissan import obsessed.
Yeah.
And to the point. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like maybe one of our team who were just like completely obsessed and know absolutely everything about.
Like he had Nissan cars that we didn't even know existed, like Laurels and Sephiros.
So he first came down to us, and I think he must have just been out of work or something happened, and then we had a half cut because so back in the day you wouldn't buy an engine, so we wanted to do an SR conversion, you'd have to buy a half cut.
Fuck, how good were they? They were like a gift you didn't know what you were getting because they would have they'd get fit in Japan with whatever it was. They get cut in half. So you didn't know if you're getting twin plate clutches, aftermarket ECUs, boost controls, turbo timers.
You can't buy that stuff now?
You probably
can.
You know where you would. So you'll remember this customer the other day. So one of the places we used to get our half cuts from was, I can't remember the name of the fucking place, but remember Shingo?
Yeah.
Who came down with that Mustang the other day? The huge guy. He worked at one of the import wreckers. Huh. And so he was our we would call him and go, hey man, we need to do an RB conversion in a Silvia. Have you got an R32 half cut? And then we would buy the half cut. And then we would rip the engine and everything out. We would do our conversion, and then you'd have this just bits and pieces of the half cut leftovers left. And then so Nate Dogg actually came down. We gave him the nickname Superstar or Super Jesus.
Super Jesus.
Because he had this fucking rough Jesus beard and long.
Loved cars, never
long hair.
Didn't look after himself at all.
Yeah. And then he came down so we advertised it on Nissan Silver or Boost Cruising. Look, we've got this fucking half cut. We're done with it. And then he came down to want to buy and strip bits and pieces off it. And then he was stripping, he came down and stripped out what he needed from it. And then he came out and so he was there for maybe half a day.
Yeah.
And then he came and then he kept like walking over like every fucking 15 minutes. He's like, oh, hang on, I pulled this out, man. You probably want this. You'll be able to sell this, give this to another customer. And then he come over next day and I was like, oh, this is turbo time. I just pulled this out. He's like, oh, well, I've got this. Like keep this. You'll need one of these later. I'm just like, who is this guy? And then we just got to talking to him and he's like, man, like, what are you doing and working and do you want a job or anything like that? And then he says, oh, fuck yeah, like, I'm out of work. And he was just, he was awesome.
He would make it work. Some of the stuff we were hiring people in, like some of this wiring stuff. He's like, no, I know how to do that. Boom, boom, boom. And like he was just like, he's exactly what we needed in that time just to get that next leap up.
Yep.
Because we'd been doing the just labor.
Yep.
For a little bit, but then someone that knew and whatnot, and people knew him as well, so he automatically brought a group of people with him. Some of them hung around like bad fucking smells, but back then it was more about community and hanging out than it was being corporate and professional.
Yep.
Obviously nowadays, it's a completely different game. But like he was just what we needed at that time.
So I know when I first found East Coast Customs before I worked here, actually, was the Mustang. So I remember the Mustang that you guys had, the black Mustang. That's like worlds away from the import stuff that you were doing.
Yes.
When did that change? Was there like a change in passion, or was that like a strategic decision to go after a completely different category of car? Because when you're talking about where you've come from, you can just see like how much it lights you up, like hearing the stories.
I love some of this old JD.
Like the old.
We ain't done yet with the stories, so we'll revisit this at some other point.
I've got notes.
Yeah, good.
I have questions, and I've got a bunch of notes because I need to know more about some of the driving that you used to do and why Rob didn't used to drive.
You don't want some of those stories.
You asked us what happened in Danny's 180, the old drifting 180.
I need to know now.
No, next time.
Next time.
But
I'm interested to know because a lot of people now know us, and if they come past on a work day now, we certainly still have a lot of the imports and Toyota and Nissan definitely, but our car park is very different now to probably what it would have started like. When did it start to evolve into Commodores and Mustangs? Because those were the cars I remembered.
Definitely Commodores first.
Yes. So we had for ages. So it was a performance shop in Brisbane, and these customers would call up and be like, "Man, I've got a fucking a Commodore with an LS. Can you do a cam or something like that?"
It was a VY back then.
Yeah, no, fuck that. We don't work on Commodores or any of that kind of stuff. We're a Jap shop. And then eventually, people just keep ringing. We're like, "No, we don't do them. And then we had this like one customer who come down, Shane Carey,
Guam Lord,
and he had this.
Good dude.
He had was it already supercharged?
Yeah,
Or
we put the blower on it? Power talked it at all.
Yeah, so
he wanted a cam it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so he just wouldn't take no for an answer. He's like I've heard about you guys. I want you to do it. Blah blah blah. This is this, and then it was a supercharged VU SS that Power Talk had done, and then he wanted us to do a camshaft in it. And then so we went, oh fuck, you don't take no for an answer, and then we did it, and then tuned it and did all this stuff, and then. Like knowing that we're going to do it, I went and did like another training course back down south on just introduction on how to learn how to tune Commodores and how to use HB tuners and a bunch of that stuff. And then we did the cam back and we tuned it and we're like, fuck this. That went all right. That made some power. And then to not oversimplify it, but I always kind of said like old Jap imports, like we cut our teeth on that stuff, and they, like variable cam and blah 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 and all this stuff, and then so we got this like LS, and it's this dinosaur fucking push rod thing, and then like you just cam out, cam in, bang, like oh fuck, that was easy, and like it was easy compared to like working on a GDR or something like that, and then we're like fuck, that was easy, and it made really good power and it sounded cool, and then he was like he was out every night cruising and and would drum up business. Oh, who did your car? East Coast. And then we did that. And we're like, fuck, is there something here? And then I went and bought a V Maloo after that. Yep. Kind of stuff like that. So like an 09 V, an 09 V Maloo. And then obviously
had the LS3 in it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the first of the LS3s. And then we did a package on that and cammed it, and then kind of cut our teeth on Commodores after that.
What year would that have been?
2008?
2009-ish? So they were new. They were new.
It was like a brand new one.
Yeah,
it was
brand new. Yeah. It was I don't
even know how I afforded it back in the day. And then there's
importation of stuff. People. No.
People.
Working very hard.
Yeah, just fucking and look, yeah, same again. You can't get a loan. You have to get like 50% up front somehow, and then finance the teeth out of the rest. But then, and then we cut our teeth on this Commodore stuff and just started learning Commodores, and we started tuning more and doing more, and like I said, even tuning them. Like people would come to us, our stalls, and it fucking carries on. And I've been to this place and this place, and we won't name names. And then like we would just tune it and fix it, and they were just like, fuck, like I've been back to this place 20 times to get that stuff sorted, and like this shit's easy. Like you should try and tune to fucking GDR. Like it's way harder. And then that just spiraled and snowballed from there. And that started getting popular. And then Ben bought a Maloo as well. And then we put an LS into one of our drift cars and all that kind of stuff like that. And this was back in the days when LS conversions went everywhere. It was like one of the first LSs around. And it was like, because it went from, you used to put RBs in everything.
Yep.
And then you put 2Js into everything.
Yep.
And we did the first 2J into an S15 in the country as well.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did. And then might have been a 1J, I don't know.
It was a J something.
It was a J, and then LS is
that was in a Matt Ashley's thing, wasn't it?
No, there was one before that.
Oh, there was one before
There was one before that. But yes, Mashley. Yeah. We did a 1J conversion in his S13 Sylvia. And then he was a customer who worked for us. And then eventually after that. So some of the old staff stories, we got so many.
There's a lot that's come through the door and gone and started their own businesses, which is
awesome.
good.
And then so just the Commodore stuff happened, and we were just getting success and started getting a reputation for being good at them, and then just started kind of I'm a tech geek as well, and then like I kind of just went down the rabbit hole of like, oh, fuck, like the tech in these things is really cool. You know what I mean? Coming from these like S13s where everything bumps and knocks and rattles and everything's old to like having this like new car.
Yep.
And I was just like, fuck, like, and then just from there, and then we rode Commodores for. Actually, it must have been 05. We probably got into Commodores around 2010. Like 08, 09, 10 or whatever it is. Yeah. And then so it was like Japanese stuff and Commodores for probably a good five years or whatever it is after that. And then we Ben and I went to SEMA in 2015 for our like 10-year like bucket list. We wanted to go to SEMA. It was always one of those things. And it was just when they just launched the S550 Mustang in America. And then it was one of those ones that so obviously you've been there and you kind of get to see the trends of the industry, and like everybody had one of these new Mustangs.
So before that, we didn't really know what the fuck a Mustang was.
Yeah.
We knew Ford had Mustangs and all this stuff, but what are they?
It was like we just know nothing.
Has it got turbo on it?
Like even with Ford back in the day, like it was like we had a couple like XR6 customers, but we're like, fuck that, like GM, you know. Fuck it. And then we came back from SEMA and we're like, we've got to buy a Mustang.
Oh, wow.
Like,
that quick.
We have to buy a Mustang. And literally the day we got back from SEMA, we went into Ford and we went, we want to buy a Mustang.
You literally used to drive past me on Roadie Road, I remember, in the Mustang.
Really?
Yeah, I'd wave to you.
And then this guy, because Z was like basically our 2RC back then.
Yeah.
He was our second staff member, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Second ever person.
Yeah, I was Zoltan.
Yes.
And it was to the point where he's like, I want a Mustang. Rob's like, you should buy the EcoBoost one, man. It'd be fucking hard.
No.
Yeah, so Z's like, fuck yeah, sounds like a good idea.
So when we were over there, we were we were Turbo Boys, right? We're JDM and Turbo Boys, and then there was like, there was all this like hype about there's a turbo model Mustang, and we're like, EcoBoost, fuck yeah, there's 1,000 horsepower EcoBoost and all that stuff, and then we're going to buy an EcoBoost Mustang. Like we'll buy one, but we're going to buy an EcoBoost, and then like we were like on the plane on the way home, and we were just like, they're a bit gay. We love turbos, but like we're in Australia and like we've gotten really good at popular with these V8s, and then we went, fuck it, we'll buy a V8. And then Z was like, I want to buy a Mustang. I'm like, definitely, bro. Buy the EcoBoost, man. They're going to be a fucking big thing.
They're like an SR, bro. We just hold turbos on them. Fucking.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then so Z bought an EcoBoost Mustang, and then that's when we started modifying and fucking around with our Mustangs. Like I literally remember when Z bought his, like he drove it home from Burnford. And literally we had like the wing waiting. Like it came into the driveway at East Coast, and it wouldn't have been 15 minutes. And we were fucking drilling
side
into the
scoops, fucking
all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
And then that's where all the Mustang stuff started. Yeah. And then that was
2015, 2016 ride. Yeah. And that's
it would have been
still present.
16. Yeah. Because it would have been SEMA at the end of 2015, which was November 15. And then they came, we got home, we ordered it, and then when they actually got released in Australia in 16.
Because Enzo got one of the first, and that was a 16 model, wasn't it? Yeah.
16 was the first that we saw here. Yep. So. And then that's how Mustang started. And it was one of those ones that it was, once again, we go, well, fuck, appreciate the tech and all that stuff. And I think it was one of those like lightning in a bottle moments, because it was like when the S550 got launched, it was like one of these all the
Cult,
guys
yeah.
out there, like it was such a cult car, right? And then all the guys out there who just always wanted a Mustang, like it was such a popular thing. And then we got in at the right time, and then some other places tried to get into it, but then like the tuning and working on them was just that, like everyone thought you could get in, you could modify one, and it was just like doing an LS or just like doing an XR6 turbo. And then I guess we can dive further into this in other podcasts about tuning and stuff, and they're just so much more fucking complicated.
Yeah.
And then people would have a crack and just be like, fuck, like just throw their hands up at this. I'm like, Ben and I are just like, man, like we don't give up on anything. So, and then we would just, all day, all night on the dyno, just fucking around with stuff and doing it, and then kind of just learnt our way around the Mustang platform. And I've obviously managed to make some good relationships with like Craig and the guys at Mustang Motorsports, and kind of just, connected with the right people and didn't piss off the right people and whatnot, because it's very easy there's a lot of ego in this industry.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So it's very easy for people to get a bit butthurt about stuff. And I mean, it's not so difficult. Just don't be a dickhead. And you know what I mean? Like there's enough cars out there for everybody. There's enough money out there for everybody. But I think we just got lightning in a bottle with Mustang, and then it's just
gone from there.
Just gone from there. Yeah, it's such a cool platform that like 90% of people who buy one, like no one leaves them stock.
No way.
You know what I mean? And it's just
they all want to be. They all want to be that little bit different.
Everyone wants something unique.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's great. And it's great for the industry because in the end of the day, like fuck, the cars all come out the same, just different colours.
Well, you can resonate with that. Look what you guys did to your own cars over the years.
Yeah, we've done some shit.
Yeah, so
trailblazers.
Well, I reckon we're probably approaching that time.
We are.
What's your question?
My question?
Yeah.
Closing question?
Yeah, closing question. Come on. I don't know. You don't need one, but whatever.
Out of 10, how would you rate Rob's driving? Out of 10, if you had to rate it.
My wife hates it. What do you mean?
How would you rate how well he drives now?
He's gotten better. He has gotten better. Yeah, he's more attentive now. So like, I'd probably say about 3.
Now?
Yeah. No, we've done some driving together now, and like for me, I think it's a lot of I've just got to chill the fuck out too.
Okay.
Like when we were overseas and whatnot, that's probably the biggest testament to fucking driving, because you're wrong side of the road, different fucking car. Like when you're turning left, you're not actually in the same left where you be in here and whatnot. And Rob actually does a lot of driving when we're overseas, and he's like, we've made it home every time.
If I'm not distracted, normal driving, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I said, heaps of driving overseas. Blah, blah, like normal driving's fine. I'm very hand on heart. Like, but between the two of us, like I am not the performance race car track drifter driver. I learned very early on, like when I was just young and stupid, like trying to drift and trying to like do what Benny could do and all that stuff, because like he can steer a car, and like that's how he really got into this whole industry and scene. And we'll go down the ADD and the Drift King and the Danny stuff as a separate story. So I would try and be like, I want to do the kind of things Benny did, and like fuck man, I've been in the car with Ben. We've mounted some curbs and done some fucking stupid shit plenty of times as well. But we'll
we were in cemeteries and everything.
It's funny. Like if Ben would do something, he'd mount a curb or whatever it is. If I'd fuck up, I'd fucking hit a car or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think I learnt very early on after that, like building the Still 80 and the 180 experience and all that stuff, that I just, it's not for me. I'm just like some people get this like massive kick about like being sideways and all that stuff, and I just get like, after that big smash, and then particular like when I built that A-Town 180 and it was like airbrushed and had like I had so much money in this car. As soon as like I'd put my foot down and it'd get sideways, and all I could see was like the dollar signs of like you've run out of talent before. Do you know what this will cost you if you do it again? So I've just like hand on like you want someone to drive fast on a racetrack or drift or do something awesome. That's
I've been in the car with you.
See this guy. This guy.
There you go.
See this guy. Fuck you guys, by the way. All right. Because
this is a running joke, though, right?
I gave you a compliment, all right?
Yeah.
I tried to have you back.
He said you got better, so
like debatable.
You're very good at multitasking while you drive. There you go.
Also debatable, but just newer cars have better technology to stop that happening now.
True.
I think I can do precision driving pretty well, because I've had to like reverse 9 million cars on and off dynos and all that stuff backwards and all that kind of stuff. That stuff I'm all right. But yeah, I am not the race car performance driver. Like we built like a circuit car and a drift car and a track cars for the shop, and like at no stage has there ever been a thought of like, hey, Benny, I want to get another lap at this. Like I'm just, he's the driver. I'm the pretty one.
He was a Toona. Here's the
I'm
He's
the Toona.
Toona.
I'm the Toona.
Yeah,
No one
Toona.
likes the Toona here.
No one likes the Toona here.
Yeah.
We like here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We like you lots.
Debatable.
No.
Depending on the day.
All right, I'm going to give it 2.
Well, it's been awesome hearing the old stories. I'm going to be
Plenty
thinking
more.
about A-Town and...
We're gonna try and rustle up some. We'll try and rustle up some pictures and
Yeah,
videos
yeah.
of this
Yes,
stuff
we
somehow.
need to.
Like,
Yeah, we
I think
definitely
I
need
found
to.
some
Bruce Cruising's still around, or like Nissan Sylvia.
I don't know.
I know NS is.
Was
'cause it's
hard
hard tuned
tuned?
now
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that stuff
exactly
like that.
right. Yeah.
We've got a lot of
I
ground
wonder
to
if there's
cover.
like
Yeah.
servers or whatever it is, but yeah.
We'll find something. It'll be in the vault.
Oh, it's funny, yeah, because this is back in the day, right? So there was no Facebook, there were no camera phones or any of that
Yeah,
stuff. Like the first camera phone came out. We had those 3 phones.
Yeah,
Yep.
big,
The big
fucking
flippy
you need
fucking
a harness
flip
on one
phones.
fucking ear.
Yep.
But yeah, like,
HTC
so
phones and
there
stuff.
were no camera phones, there was no Facebook, there was no social media back in the day. So like, there's so much.
Ask Rob what his first picture message was.
Oh, I don't want to know.
Ask him. Hey Rob, my name's Alana. What's your first picture message?
My first MMS that I ever sent, when we both went in and got our fucking like
Oh,
3 fucking like
no.
flippy camera phones. I took a shit and then I took a picture and sent it to Ben.
I'm not surprised.
I received that shit message. I was like, what the fuck?
I'm not surprised to hear
And
this.
really pixelated. It took ages to download. But I got there.
And that's how
yeah.
you know when you're in a business. That's how you know when you're in a business relationship that
Yeah.
like that, like man, nothing's
Yeah.
breaking us. But it's
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
when
like-
people upload photos of their poops on our unbillable
oh yeah.
now,
Yeah, we know where it came from, eh?
yeah, it starts at the top.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well,
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Well, episode 1
Amazing.
down.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm excited for this. We got
Yeah.
So
Lindsay, we've
much.
got so many fucking stories and shit to
Yeah.
share, and then I'm excited but scared because I'm gonna be ranting and fucking going on
Yeah,
about some stuff like customers, right? And like people will listen to me like, he's talking about me, but I've made
names here.
But I've made a promise to ourselves that like just look.
we're going to deal it as it is.
You get it as it is.
No,
Like you-
authentic.
Like
That's
you
what we
get it
want.
as it is, and just look. Maybe if we're having a rant about you being a dickhead, well, maybe just stop being a fucking.
Yeah,
dickhead.
or you can start your own podcast and rant about us.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't give a
yeah,
fuck,
yeah,
you know,
that'll be-
like really. Like, so.
But that look, we've got so many, like just talking to other people in the industry
Yeah.
that we're doing this, like so many amazing guests and all that kind of stuff that we want to just get in and chat with and all that stuff. So,
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Lanzi, thank you so much for driving this to actually turn this from a
Concept?
let's just keep talking about it forever and ever and ever.
People need to know.
actually to making this happen.
They
So,
need to know
Right.
that your first picture message was just shit.
Yeah, people need to know. So,
got to give the people what they want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah,
So,
it's provocative. It gets the people going.
but give us feedback. Tell us what
Yep.
you want to hear.
any questions or if there's anything,
Yeah, send it through.
we may answer it. We don't know.
If you
know.
don't want us to talk about you on the podcast,
Yeah,
also
yeah.
let us know.
Yeah, whatever.
I nearly dropped the name before. I was actually.
Give us as much hate as you want. I
Yeah.
really don't care.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good for the metrics.
Yeah, old,
It's good for the metrics,
old
guys.
Teflon over here.
We will try and make sure it's entertaining.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right.
Awesome.
Peace out.
Bye.
See ya.